Hello and welcome to this demonstration of a new FUJITSU product, Interstage Application Server powered by Windows Azure. Why should you choose a product by FUJITSU? Well, you may not know it, but FUJITSU is the world's third largest ICT service provider, as well as being the #1 in Japan. We have over 170,000 employees worldwide, and our customers include nearly half the Fortune Global 500 list. FUJITSU is a truly major company. FUJITSU is also one of Microsoft's global strategic partners for Windows Azure, and through this partnership we provide a FUJITSU branded cloud service called FGCP A5, powered by Windows Azure. It's an important part of FUJITSU's philosophy to seek new challenges. For example, we developed a new product called Arrowhead to provide Tokyo Stock Exchange with an ultra-high-speed, reliable and scalable next-generation trading system. We've also developed a supercomputer called K, which is currently the fastest in the world and has spent 2 consecutive terms at #1 as rated by Top 500. FUJITSU's Java-based application server, Interstage Application Server, has been prominent in its field for more than 10 years and has been deployed in many mission-critical systems, notably the Tokyo Stock Exchange and the UK Post Office. Interstage Application Server powered by Windows Azure is the world's first commercial Java EE6 application execution platform available on Windows Azure. Simply by deploying applications using Interstage Application Server plugin, we can use the Java EE6 application execution environment. To make this happen, we need Eclipse IDE version 3.6.2 or later. We then have to install Interstage Application Server plugin. We can install it by clicking the Help menu, Install New Software command, or by clicking the Eclipse Marketplace command and searching for the plugin on Eclipse Marketplace. In this demonstration, we'll install the plugin using the Help Install New Software menu. In the Install dialog, we specify the place from where we install the plugin by clicking the Add button. The name that we enter in the name field is up to us. In this demo, we'll use Interstage Application Server plugin. Next, we specify the actual location in the location field. When we've entered the name and location, we click OK. The software list appears in which we can see the content of the plugin. We select Interstage Tools and then click Next. In the Install Details dialog, we click Next. In the Review Licenses dialog, we read the license terms and, providing we agree with them, select I accept the terms of the license agreements and then click Finish. During installation, a security warning is displayed. This is because Interstage Application Server plugin is not digitally signed, but it is safe to ignore this message and continue installation. When the installation is finished, we click Restart Now to restart Eclipse. After the restart, we can use Interstage Application Server plugin. In order to use the plugin, we need a Windows Azure subscription, which we can get online on the Microsoft or FUJITSU homepage. They often provide free trial subscriptions, so it's a good idea to check the homepages for information. Before we can configure the plugin, we have to create the hosted service to which we will deploy our applications. To do this, we log into Windows Azure Management Portal and click New Hosted Service. In this dialog, we select our subscription and specify our service name, in this case APS Demo. We also specify the URL prefix and region. Next, we select the Do Not Deploy option. When we have finished, we click OK. The hosted service is created, but it may take a few minutes depending on cloud traffic. Next, we must create a storage account for the plugin to use. To do this, we click New Storage Account. In this dialog, we select our subscription and specify the URL of the storage account and the region. The storage account is created, but this too may take a few minutes. Next, we must create a certificate and register it in Windows' Azure. We create a certificate using makecert.exe, which is included in Visual Studio or Windows SDK. If you do not have makecert.exe installed on your computer, you can download it for free from the Microsoft homepage. In this example, the certificate has been created on the C drive in Work. We then have to register the certificate in Windows Azure. To do this, we upload it on Management Portal by clicking Management Certificates, Add Certificate. We select the subscription where you want to register the certificate. Select the certificate you have created, then click OK. The created certificate and a private key pair are stored in the Windows Certificate Store. Because the plugin is a Java program, to make it possible for the plugin to use the certificate and key pair, we have to store them as a key store, which is a standard Java certificate store. To do this, we use certmanager.msc. In this case, the certificate has been stored in the personal repository, so we expand the personal repository. Next, we select the certificate and export it with a private key. In the certificate export wizard, we click Next and select Yes, export the private key. Next, we specify a password for the private key and then the file name. In this example, we're using test.pfx. The test.pfx file is then created in the work directory. That's the preparation finished. Now we need to specify the Windows Azure account information in the plugin. We do this by clicking Window, Preferences, Interstage Application Server. The Interstage Application Server command was added when we installed the plugin. This command has two subcommands. We register our account or subscription information using the Subscriptions subcommand. In the subscription dialog, we click New to display the subscription settings dialog, in which we register our subscription information. First, we select the target service, which basically means the location of our subscription. This plugin supports Microsoft Windows Azure Platform and FUJITSU Global Cloud Platform powered by Windows Azure. In this demo, we'll use Microsoft Windows Azure. Next, we enter a name for our subscription in the name field. With this plugin, we can register any number of subscriptions, so to make it easy to tell one subscription from another, we can give each one a nickname. Note that the names must be unique for our subscriptions. We'll call this subscription APS Demo. The next field is the Subscription ID field. In this field, we specify the subscription ID of our account. This ID is generated whenever you create a Windows Azure subscription, and you can check your account in Windows Azure Management Portal. This shows how to check account information in the Management Portal. To confirm a subscription ID, for example, first we select the subscription we want to use, then check the subscription properties on the right. For convenience, we can copy the subscription ID and paste it into the subscription ID field. Next, we have to fill in the certification file field. This field must contain the name of the certificate file that we exported using the cert manager MSC command. After that, we have to fill in the certification password field. This field must contain the password for the certificate that we specified with the certmanager.msc command. When we have entered all the required information, the test connection button becomes active. You click this button to verify your information. What this means is that the plugin uses the information that we have entered to try and connect to Windows Azure. If the connection attempt is successful, the OK button becomes active. When we click OK, the subscription information is saved on the disk. If the connection attempt fails, we should correct the information that we specified in this dialog and try again. Another thing we have to do is register hosted services in our subscription. We do this by clicking the Hosted Services command in Eclipse Preferences. Note that before we can register information, we must have already created the hosted service using Windows Azure Management Portal. So, to start registering a hosted service, first we click New to display the Hosted Service Settings dialog. We can register information about any number of hosted services, so, as with a subscription, it's useful to give each hosted service a unique name. In this demo, we'll use APS Demo, which we have just configured in the plugin. Next, we click the Browse button and specify the subscription name. We have to do this because the plugin needs to know which subscription this hosted service belongs to. In the DNS prefix field, we specify the DNS prefix of the hosted service to which we want to deploy a Java application. We can find out which DNS prefix to use in Windows Azure Management Portal. In this demo, the DNS of this hosted service is APS Demo 2. Because this plugin uses Windows Azure Storage Service as a temporary storage area, we have to specify a storage account name and access key. We can check the storage account information in Windows Azure Management Portal by clicking the Storage Accounts command. Because we are using APS Demo 2, we copy this private access key information. Back in the Hosted Service Settings dialog, we specify APS Demo 2 in the Storage Account field and paste the private access key information in the Storage Access Key field. As in the Subscription Settings dialog, the Test Connection button becomes active when we have entered all the required information. So we click Test Connection to verify the information that we specified and then click OK to save it. At this stage, we have completed all the configuration tasks and we are ready to deploy an application on Windows Azure. In Project Explorer, there is a project called JPET Store. This is an Eclipse dynamic web project and contains JPET Store, which is one of the sample applications of Spring Framework. To deploy it, we select the JPET Store project and right-click. In the context menu that appears, we click Interstage Application Server to display the Interstage Application Server Settings dialog. In the General dialog, the first thing we have to do is specify the hosted service to which our application will be deployed. We do this by clicking Browse to display a dialog in which we can select from the available hosted services. In this case, we select APS Demo, which we registered earlier in this plugin. Next, we specify the instance size, which means the size of the virtual machines that we can use. We can select the size according to the demands of our particular application. Selecting a bigger instance size offers the advantages of more powerful CPU, more memory, and larger local disk space. but the disadvantage of higher cost. In this demo, we'll use small. Next, we specify the number of instances. We calculate this based on an estimation of the load that our application will bring. In the version field, we can select which version of Interstage application server to use. In this release, only version 1.0.1 is available. In the release field, we can specify a particular release number, and this release will always be used even if new releases are issued. However, Fujitsu recommends selecting the Auto Update checkbox instead. This means that the plugin automatically checks for and applies any new releases. Next, we enter information about the build. If we already have a WAR file that we want to use, we can specify it in the target file field. To have the plugin build the project for us, we can select the build checkbox. For this demo, we'll select the build checkbox. At this stage, we can also set other information as required by clicking the Security, Java Settings and Databases items in the left pane of the dialog. When we have finished making settings, we can save the information for later use by clicking OK. If we want to deploy our application now, we click Deploy. When deployment starts, a progress bar is displayed. Depending on the traffic on Windows Azure, it usually takes 10 to 15 minutes to complete deployment. So if we want to deploy our application in the background, we can click Run in Background. We can check the status of the deployment in the Progress view in Eclipse. If the Progress view is not displayed in Eclipse, select Window Show View Progress. When deployment completes, the result of the deployment is displayed in the Progress view. If the deployment is successful, a hyperlink is displayed. We can access our application by clicking the Invoke the Application link on the deployment result. And now we can see the JPEG Store application in the Eclipse browser.